Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lip Service, the podcast of our coming out stories. I am your host, Pam Myers, and I am here today with Jonathan de Armas, and we are going to share Jonathan's coming out story. Thanks for joining, Jonathan.
Oh my, thanks so much for having me, Pam.
Yeah. You're coming to us from sunny California. Hmm? Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
Long Beach, California,
Yeah.
um, south of Los Angeles. Beautiful spot. Moved here in my early 20s.
Oh, yeah. It is a beautiful spot. Yes. And so tell us where were you living? Were you living there when you came out? Yeah. Okay.
No, actually, Long Beach was the place where I came to, not out. um, but I came out when I was in college. I got all the way through childhood. So many stories in my childhood that I could tell you about. Wearing coconut bras or like spending all my time at my mom's Tupperware parties and memorizing the Tupperware catalog and but at the same time into computers and technology and other things and
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
just a special little kid. But all the way until college, until I started even like um, really dating and or trying it out, and I got to the end of freshman year before anything clicked.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
So you really didn't have an inkling. You were dating women, I'm assuming, or
I was trying.
you were trying? Yeah. Okay.
It
Yeah.
didn't.
Right.
Nothing was fitting right. I'll say that.
Mhm.
Or like junior high, high school, I was obsessed over one girl at a time,
Mhm.
and it was very in my mind. It was very Disney-esque in how it was supposed to work out. Third grade, they had us write a book about your life, and
Yeah.
I was the every kid did what I did, right? You know, I'll have a wife and a kids and the dog and the house and the car.
Right.
You know, I mine was only special because I had like um I did all the things the wife and the three kids before I was like 21, right?
Uh-huh.
That's for more family cultural situation probably. But
Mhm.
then I was the only one in the class that died of a heart attack in his 50s for whatever reason. um, but that's just to say that like whatever I thought as a kid was so rigidly like in my mind that I
Yeah.
did not evaluate it, and I just tried to find the wife, like tried
Yeah.
to find the girlfriend really hard, and I
Yeah.
had really good relationships, and I mistook friendships for something else, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, it wasn't until I was dating, I was dating a girl very well for summer, and um, somebody else said to me, "Oh, you look nice. You look cute with that guy." And then the gears start turning. Like, why would you think that? And
Uh,
then, well, would I? Like
okay.
aesthetically speaking, would I?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
So you
I
found
think
yourself kind of questioning, like, oh, mm,
yeah. Before college, I'm always and even in college I separated a little bit, but I've always been very tight with my family, and my
mm,
family on one side is very culturally and religiously Catholic.
mhm,
So raised there, and then
mm,
asking combination of asking too many questions and being a little precocious and in the CCD classes because we weren't in a Catholic school. Um, we happened to get ourselves somehow kicked out, me and my brothers, of CCD class. Sister Angela kind of didn't like us. We ended up at the United Methodist Church for the rest of my high school, junior high and high school years, where I was like youth group, writing the church newsletter, playing violin at the services,
wow,
very involved.
yeah,
My sexuality was never even like a thought. It wasn't a challenge because it wasn't a thing. I
right,
didn't question anything.
right,
I just was bad at whatever I was trying to do. That's all.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
so then fast forward, you're in college and somebody says, "Oh, you'd look good with that guy," and
yeah.
how,
And I'm like, oh, that tall blonde guy over there. Let me think about it. And the funniest thing is, when she said it to me, um, hello YouTube, it's for everyone. When she said it to me, we were in bed at the time, and immediately when she said it, I was immediately no longer interested in what we were doing and
Oh,
only thinking about something else. And so I had to do, harsh reality thinking. I'm very much a person who can't, I have trouble sitting on something that I need to share.
yeah. Okay.
With somebody who I have close connection with, it's important to me to
Right.
get that out. And so, that all the relationships with women that summer ended in their ways. and and I started figuring things out, between the summer of 99 and the winter of 2000. That was the
Yeah.
summer of me figuring it out.
Yeah.
And by the time the high school has started back up, 2000 was when I had the first opportunity to come out to someone in my family.
Mm.
So that it was coming out to myself, coming out on campus in a private, safe space. So school, Harvey Med College, was less than 1,200 students, I think, at the time, like freshman through senior. It was very, very small.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it's very low numbers, like low thousands, if any.
Mhm.
Our class was something like 800. So
Okay.
a freshman class, and then they're half of that by the time you get through. Um, my friends and I, my sophomore year, so the year right after the fall right after I came out,
Mhm.
my friends and I founded, it's the still running, People Respecting Individuals' Sexuality at Mud, the PRISM group,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's still running. I'm, still on the mailing list. I see them. I don't participate, but
Uh-huh.
it's really, really cool to see something, 20 plus years later,
Right.
um,
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's great.
going. And
Yeah.
so
So,
at school, it was accepted. It was easy. It was a very, very small community of science and engineering nerds who are also somehow, some way, the most like liberal and open-minded, respecting people.
right. Yeah.
So Harvey Mudd College, shout out.
That's awesome.
um, but
Yeah.
then it came time to, I was scared to tell my family. I was scared because no one had ever told me that this was bad. By the way, I want to be very clear.
Okay.
None of my parents, no one ever said this is bad. I picked it up myself.
Okay.
I would put together what I saw on TV with random things I hear my parents say. I never asked questions. I would just learn and
Right.
assume, making assumptions of me and my parents.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I
Mhm.
was I was too scared to just come out. So I don't have actually the best story I could say for them from coming out to my parents is that I don't remember it well from my perspective because it did not go bad.
Oh,
Um, by the
good.
time I got there, I had already talked to my sister and some other folks, and that's the story. That was the hard one. That was the scary one. Was my little sister.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh sure, yeah.
Sure.
I called her up just in case, so I could share as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had, like I said, we were not necessarily the most religious within our household, although we are, but we have religion all around us in our family, and so my parents made the choice once I was out of the house and no longer railing against private schools as our thing, because I was a public school kid first, and when you're starting out, that's what your kids are. So,
Right.
but they had the ability to send the kids to private school, and I was no longer harping on it in the house.
Okay.
And so the younger ones all ended up at Christian school. My sister was now in Christian high school, and I went to the mall with her. This is the Montclair Plaza. We were like maybe 10 years after they made it 2 stories. And this is the food court. It's literally, it should be like a John Hughes movie, basically. Walking the mall with my sister. Hey, let's go get a Whopper. None of this is going to go down. We're not planning anything. Sit down for a Whopper. And me being who I am, I'm testing the waters a little bit. So I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned things I'm doing at school and things I know that are a little controversial for what she's learning in school, but also like, I don't want to lose my sister. this is my thought. She doesn't tell me anything. I'm making assumptions, like I said. I've big ball of assumptions for so many of us. And I don't want to discount the folks who have real hard times. That's not, I'm just saying that I was super lucky that I didn't have it bad when I actually did it, but I was super scared, and the anxiety and the health problems and the psychological issues I was having fighting myself for reasons that didn't truly exist for me was the worst of it. And so I'm sitting across from my sister with all of this pent up, just twisted energy, and it's not for her. It's my fear that I'll lose her after 4 years of school, and she's freshman through senior. And so I broached the subject of somebody, a gay person that I know, and she promptly gives me the line, oh, it's so sad that, I care about people so much, but they're all going to hell, and da da da. And I snapped. I'm going to hell? Are you saying I'm going to hell? And yell it in the food court. Are you saying I'm over a Whopper? So my freakish hell Whopper, and my sister and I shared. And she had this face like, what? Like holy crap. And really that moment was, and it's kind of what I do sometimes. I try to throw a little shock because I'm super uncomfortable. But I was very, very it was that moment I really thought I'm gonna lose my sister if I don't fight. And so for years I've really fought that quiet fear of, if I'm just myself, will I lose people I care about?
Right.
And it's taken another 20 years since then. This summer right now is 24 years since I came out.
Wow.
And yeah.
I mean, that fear is debilitating. Whether it's founded or unfounded, it's still debilitating.
Very much. Yes.
So what happened? Well, then, so you shouted out, "I'm going to hell," and then what did she act?
Why would you go to hell? Of course, that's the first, because she's in disbelief, right? So I did have to explain, and then but what about this girl from high school? What about this girl? And we used to tease you about this girl. Yeah, it was hard to answer those questions, especially then. Now I can't exactly remember the way that I processed and the way that I responded at the time, because right now I see it so clearly. It's well, two things. This is my coming out twice story, essentially. This morning, even though I've been presumptively living this way, this morning I got an official diagnosis that I'm on the autism spectrum and I have ADHD. Which, if I go back to my childhood and think about pattern recognition and how fiercely I believe things and how fiercely I go after things, I feel really bad for, I've got to go back and apologize to those girls that I was so fiercely in love with, I think. That type of thing. But at the same time, it helps me shape back, like, oh, it's taking me a lot longer to process like that interpersonal style, like relationship, that emotion, to communicate these things. And so I am on the beginning of that journey now, right? I've been living like presumptively, like maybe possibly, but now my unique presentation of these traits, I get to explore, and I'm really looking forward to integrating that into the personality that I've been able to grow since the last major transformation, right?
Right. Well, first of all, I want to say, and some people may find this weird, but I want to say congratulations, because
Thank you.
that's awesome. I mean, it is who you are, right? And it just means that you're super smart. And so congrats on that. But I want to go back to then. How did your sister come around? She came around?
I never lost her for a minute. I wish we could ask her about her process. I don't have a good explanation of that, but I do know that she is an incredible person who has friends of all beliefs,
Mhm.
and that's actually one of the most important things,
Yeah,
is that, you know, it's I'm not even going to suggest that she and I disagree in any ways, shape, or form, but that you don't have to have all the same aligned thoughts to have love on a deep level.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan. Is she your only sister? Do you have other siblings?
No, no. I'm the oldest of, let's say, 9 total. I
Oh,
would
wow.
say, if you get out of mix them all up and add them together, and divorces and other things.
Yeah.
Um, but
Hmm.
yeah, very large family though. Like on
Yeah.
one side alone, I'm one of 26 grandkids,
Oh, how
and
wonderful.
so it's a village
Yeah.
where we come from.
Yeah. Congrats again. That's wonderful. Yeah. And so how was it when I'm going to go back again to something you said earlier when you first thought, oh, well, maybe I am interested in dating men. Then how did you, what did you do? Did you, I mean, how
I
did you know
was
what to do?
I'll tell you, I was at a science and engineering school, so it was very, very scientific method. I
Mhm.
knew a guy who was a friend of the same girl that I was with, and a mutual friend already, even. And I was like, like this is the autistic boy. Ready? I heard that you're bi. Would you like to have sex sometime to see if I'm gay? And then we went and asked his girlfriend if it was okay if we tried it, and she was like, okay. And then we did. That's
That's a
for,
great
and
story.
really honestly, that it wasn't even like a quiet transaction. I think we were in the lounge
Yeah.
and in the shared communal space when the question went down. So it was very much a curious, and like he has the traits, the male version of the traits I'm into when I'm saying I'm into these women. So
Yeah.
let's pick you.
Yeah.
And so yeah, uh, good.
Yeah.
We all many years later, we maintain very loose friendship. We know we're all good. Everybody's good.
Good, good,
But
good. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
but after that moment, I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
something was never had been right, or
Mhm.
that's not true. Okay, it had never been the same when
Yes.
I was with a woman, and it was in the words I used back then, I can remember, is that I think I can have sex with anyone, but I don't think I've ever actually fallen in love with a girl.
Mm.
When I thought I was obsessed or in love or whatever, it was not the same thing as like a couple times shortly after first times with men.
Yeah.
And the feelings I experienced before, during, or after, or even unrelated to sexual activity, were completely different when I allowed it to happen.
Mhm.
And so that, while I might still, go as far as to say like, oh sure, I'll still respect that first statement. It, it's not something that I take advantage of or act on ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really uh, I tend to find myself the love part, the attachment, it's the divine masculine. I'll say it that way better
Yes.
than in purely any biology. But
Yeah.
if you're a male presenting soul, that's what gets my attention.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, without getting too, um, without segueing too far off, I mean, women relate to each other differently, men relate to each other differently. So maybe hard for some people to understand that, but unless you're in the position, it's really hard to perhaps grasp. But yeah, no. Any any words of advice that you'd like to share with anybody listening?
Mhm. I think if I could talk to myself when I was maybe a kid, right? Um, I don't know. It's not even the same these days. I can't compare anything. But if I could talk to my inner child, and if somebody has a situation anywhere near myself, I would say, your family loves you,
Mhm.
and if something bad happens, there's somebody else there for you.
Mhm.
When I thought I would lose my family, I created one of the strongest family group of friends that are still my family today.
Mhm.
And every Monday night, we're on a Jackbox online, playing games throughout all over the country. Um, you know, you're not alone, even if it goes as bad as you think, but it
Mhm.
won't go that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Generally, it's our own inner fear that causes
Yeah,
us to.
that if it's hurting you long, try to do something about it sooner.
Right. Yes. Wise, wise words. Yes. And I think yes, the climate is different today, but there are still a lot of people struggling. A lot of young people struggling. Probably more than we.
And I recognize my experience was I was super lucky to end up, you know, right after my parents' house in a dorm with
Mhm.
just a bunch of other my age
Yeah.
people. And you know, it's not an opportunity, especially today, that people get. You know,
Right.
you have to do college from home. You have to like figure it out so often. So it's I do wonder what I don't wonder too much. I encourage anyone who's feeling any of these feelings to go seek out like your local center, or even Trevor Project is a great place to start, if
Hmm.
because that's where I was for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good, good, good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing
you're,
your story. Thank you for being such a beautiful human. You're just awesome.
you're welcome. I appreciate you doing this. This is a resource for everybody, Pam, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks everybody for listening. Keep listening to these stories.